1, 2. I think I put the wrong title on there. Oh no, I have the wrong title in Zencaster, which you need to log on to. Let me close that out and start it up again.
Is Sherry Wheeler seriously still banned from Twitter?
She was never banned from Twitter.
Who
Sherry
the fuck
Wheeler?
Who am I
You're
thinking
of?
of?
Sarah Goldman.
Oh yeah.
Sarah is banned.
That's hilarious. That's why I thought I saw I thought I saw Sarah because I was confusing Sarah with Sherry.
Yeah, no, two different people. Although, in your defense, I've never seen them both in the room at the same time, so who knows?
It's true. I also haven't left my house in a long time.
Do I sound all right, by the way?
I mean, same as usual.
1, 2, 1, 2. Coming off the top, y'all know how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send a shout out to the host named Eric. Yo, he's never on some average shit. You know, Eric, he stays loud and passionate. I'm about to break it down for y'all with the clever song. Yo, shout the host named Thomas, cause he's never wrong. Yo, shout to John. You know that he's smart and quiet, unlike my freestyles, which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this, cause the people love me. Shouts out to PHP, the ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional, but I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting, I perfume the room. Yo, the segment of the show is called Doom and Gloom. That came from Thomas. Yeah, can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no exaggeration. What do y'all do for a living? Web applications. Okay, I can dig it. My words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it. You know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly. We ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go.
You're listening to episode 269 of PHPUgly. This is getting out of control because I still haven't started the Zencaster. You ready to go?
Oh yeah, no. Let's actually start it this time. That'd be great.
Yeah, okay, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's do this. All right. You're listening to episode 269 of PHPUgly. This is getting out of control. I am your host, Eric Van Johnson, and with me tonight is my lovely co-host wearing a beautiful ball gown, Tom Right Up.
I mean, I'm not. I was. Not anymore. Jeez. I feel called out.
Well, you know, I think the world needs to know. You look good. You look stunning in a ball gown.
Yeah. It's none of their business.
What's going on, man?
You know, lots of standard TV entertainment and work.
TV is getting good again a little bit, huh?
Kinda, yeah.
Are you watching the Book of Boba?
Not yet. So I watch the select Disney shows with a buddy of mine who's been in Texas for 3 weeks. So I'm backlogged quite a bit. But no, I watched like Last Night in Soho, which was the new Ghostbusters movie. which
I saw that.
like
Yeah.
sets a new standard for as good as you could expect it to be.
Especially after they tried to get zoom tight. So happy we got that first one on tape.
Yeah, hit that mute button twice.
151. I need a pin. Hold on. I need a pin to make edit note.
The Ghostbusters movie to me was very strange because it was as good as it possibly could be. Now that's not a 10 out of 10 because I kind of would have preferred they never made it. But then they made it and it was so good that I'm like, oh, I'm kind of glad they made it. So it's like a 2 out of 2.
Nah, I think it was better than that. My expectations.
2 out of 2 is still 100%.
Yeah, but okay, all right.
It
my
fucks with the rating system.
My expectations for it were set pretty low after the last reboot attempt. And I'm like, all right, well, let's see what they do with this one. And I was pleasantly surprised.
My expectations were set low when the trailer featured the mini Marshmallow Men a lot, and the toys came out with the mini Marshmallow Men, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be a thing. It wasn't a thing.
The truth of the matter is, I'm a big Paul Rudd, right? That's his name, Paul Rudd. I like him. Like, I like his acting. He was fairly insignificant in this movie, and I honestly think he could have not been in the movie, and the movie would have been just as good. Like, he didn't really bring a whole lot to the table.
I think he was a well-rounded, well-established character. He was exactly Louis Tully. Like, I think he had the same screen time as Louis Tully. He had the same role as Louis Tully. Like, he was almost exactly the same character. And it was played so well in the writing, not necessarily in the acting. I think he was Paul Rudd in Ghostbusters, but I think the way he was written into the character, he played the exact role he was supposed to play, which was like, all right, who brought the dog? Like that was the whole character he played. It was as good as I could possibly expect it to be or hope it to be. I've already ranted about this for like an hour and a half earlier today, so don't want to get too much further into it. I also watched Bone Tomahawk, which, holy shit, like, what a nightmare of a movie.
I watched the Marvel one, Eternals. Eternals.
I haven't watched it yet, and I don't have high expectations.
I didn't have high expectations, and the only reason I watched it is because it was on Disney Plus. Like, otherwise, I bought the Ghostbusters one because I wanted to watch it, but Eternals, it was on Disney Plus. I'm like, I like to try to watch all the Marvel movies, so I'll go ahead and kind of muscle through this one.
Well, I didn't buy anything, right?
Yeah, I know. I know. Biggest hypocrite in the world, but that's fine.
No,
we don't need to.
No,
Mr. Everybody should get paid top dollar, but
firmly
I'm not
established
for anything.
Firmly established hypocrite. You know what I did watch is I watched Wheel of Time. Have you seen that yet?
Wheel of Time. I don't think I have. Wheel of Time.
It's a 14-book series.
Dear God,
it's enormous. And I was watching it in the first couple episodes. I'm like, oh, I get it. They're doing like the sci-fi trope of a matriarchal society. And like as you get further into it, you're like, oh no, it's not a matriarchal society. It's still a patriarchal society, except that the men are abusing women for their superpowers. Like it when you take Wheel of Time and cast it to like against our existing society, you're like, oh, our existing society is way fucked up. Because like, yeah, as soon as women got superpowers, we would tell them that they were in charge, and then like they wouldn't be in charge. And that's what Wheel of Time is like totally about. It's very dark. Charlton is saying the Green Knight was interesting. I loved the Green Knight. It had one of the best endings that I've ever that I could hope to see in a fantasy movie.
Well, I need to get caught up, man. None of these are sounding familiar to me. I ain't really been out of the loop. The Green Knight.
Well, there was this disease that kind of like took over the planet for a while, and so movies stopped. Well, no, that's one of them. Yeah, that's one of them. Movies weren't coming out in theaters for a while, so a lot of stuff got swept under the rug. Green Knight was one of them. Green Knight was great.
Yeah, I'll have to add that to my list to watch.
That's the dude from Slumdog Millionaire is the main character, and he's great. But the the sweeping scope of the movie is fantastic.
Cool. And Charlton, where did you hear this from Charlton at?
Well, we have a Discord channel at discord.phpugly.com, and anyone can drop in. It's there's no memberships, there's no Patreon requirements, nothing like that. You can just come on in, enjoy the fun. We talk about a lot of stuff like Vue and Livewire, and we had an interesting SQL discussion today on the support sub category.
Oh, that remind me. I kept meaning to go back. So yeah, somebody had popped in. We have a channel for support or some help, or what do we say?
Some help, please.
Somebody asking how you can see the SQL statements that are being executed in Laravel, and everybody popped in with ideas. I forgot back in the day. The one I suggested was using the Laravel debug bar that shows you the SQL statement. But I had forgotten.
Which is not an official Laravel package. Laravel debug bar is a third-party package. I have to say that now, ever since Laravel Quasar came out.
Oh, well, is this something we should be talking about?
All
right, before we go there was a way before all that I used to add a listener in the routes file that would do this for me as well. Do this whenever a SQL statement fired. There was an event listener in the routes file that would fire and dump out that SQL statement. I kept meaning to look that up for them, and I kept forgetting. And now I'm trying to do it live on the show, and I can't find it. Maybe that's not a valid method anymore, because I bet you I can go through some of my old code and find it. It was a very simple little snippet I put into my routes folder. I used to do it. I used to do it to all of them and then comment it out. It would be like one of those things, one of those debug methods I would go to. So, what's the Quasar Laravel Quasar issue?
Well, so Laravel Quasar was announced on the Laravel subreddit very recently, and I don't know why Laravel debug bar to me is like a third-party thing, but Laravel Quasar I immediately thought was like a new Laravel or new Taylor project.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not. It's a statistics server, and
okay.
I'm very curious, like, where does that line get drawn for trademark and copyright?
Well, I think Taylor's pretty much established in the past. He will ask people to change.
Yeah,
the name
he has.
Yeah, and I think rightfully so, right? I mean, if you don't protect even if you're being a good citizen of open source, you're not trying to sue people for copyright infringement of the name of your project, you still have to protect it. Otherwise you lose it, right? So I don't think anybody would fault him for doing that.
Sure. And
you're
in the
a perfect example
1.0,
why.
yeah, in the 1.0 announcement, he said, maybe the name is not right, and I might have to change it. If you think I should, I will. Which is a very young person's attitude towards software. Because I know a lot of, like, you get into your 50s and you start contributing to open source and you're like, fuck you, fuck rules, I don't care. Like, I will do exactly what the license lets me do. I know plenty of those guys.
And honestly, a lot of people don't even probably put a lot of thought into it. Like, it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to call this Laravel Quasar. And it doesn't even think of maybe people will confuse this as a official Laravel product or something. So,
well, so do we want to get into the mess with colors and
Faker?
Colors and Faker?
This is an interesting topic because this was one that you didn't want to touch on last week on the audio podcast, but we talked about afterwards. And now it has expanded. And yeah, I put it in my Trello board because I was hoping we could talk about it some.
So the reason I didn't want to get into it last week was because the personal Twitter account of the creator of Colors and Faker JS seemed to have an agenda whose keywords would get flagged on a lot of podcast sharing networks. But it appears that agenda was far less interesting or serious than the real agenda, which is people are using my software to make money and I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
And my short response to that is, oh, I don't care. Go away. Like, I don't care. You picked the MIT or OpenGL license or whatever. You picked a license when you started your GitHub project, and Amazon is using it in one of their products, and you're upset about that. I don't care, man. I don't. I have no sympathy. I have empathy for sure. Like, that would bother me. That would bother me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I have no sympathy.
Okay.
I would leverage it to my advantage. I would say, hey, look at this thing I made that has 23 million downloads in 1 month. Thank you, Charlton. I would say, hey, look how good I am or how popular I am. Support my open source projects. But I have no sympathy. You chose a license. You have to adhere to it. Now, the controversy comes from the corporate overlords, I'll say. So to roll things back a little bit, the creator of the Colors and Faker library, very, very popular libraries, decided very suddenly to remove the source code from GitHub or to update the source code to be blank. So the latest version was just dead code. He was banned from GitHub, and the NPM repository reverted his changes to the latest good version. So they basically said, like, hey, we consider this behavior malicious, whether or not it was you or a third party, and we're going to undo this behavior.
Right. Which is all within their scope of being able to do. So I have a couple of feelings on this, right? And I think we're at a time. What's wrong?
Charlton just okay, so I don't want to interrupt, but Charlton just said the White House administration is holding a meeting/summit about this topic and is treating it as quote unquote digital supply chain vulnerability, which is that's bad language for open source.
And it shows the ignorance people have about open source, because since it was open source, right, and since it was licensed the way it is, the impact should be pretty minimal, right? I mean, obviously there's the inconvenience that packages need to be updated to point to a new repo, but that project can be forked and carried on. That developer just basically said, hey, I'm not using my resources to manage this project anymore. He considered his GitHub account to be one of those resources and removed it. Poor practice? Yes, absolutely. Maybe he should have made an announcement. Maybe he should have tried to pass it off. Whatever the case. I understand his frustration. I think we're at a moment in time where the open source ecosystem is trying to find a balance, right? Like, this has been going on for a very long time, and a lot of companies have gotten very wealthy using a lot of these tools and haven't been good citizens and contributed back to those developers.
Haven't been perceived as good citizens. They haven't necessarily been bad citizens.
And again, it might be an educational thing, right? This was kind of one of the thought process behind the new PHP Foundation, that a foundation is now being established to make it clear to companies out there, hey, this project needs money to carry on. If we want this level of, if we want to continue to have the same level of excellence we've had in the PHP programming language, there's going to have to be some financial backing. And this is not a new concept, right? I believe FreeBSD has been doing this for years, right? I mean, that's how FreeBSD is still carried on, is through a foundation.
The GNU project is basically founded on this. The reason that the MIT license and the new license are different is this concept of free.
Mm-hmm.
Free as in beer versus free as in freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, it's more than that, though, right? The new GNU license, I mean, the biggest hang up with that, with companies, says that, hey, if you use this product, if you modify it in any way, you have to contribute that back, right? I mean, and that's where companies are like, well, we're not going to use products that have the GNU license because we don't want to be on the hook to have to contribute back our code where we don't know, how proprietary that code is going to be. So companies typically try to steer clear of that, but that doesn't really kind of speak to the lack of education on open source in general. I mean, we've talked in the past about Xdebug and Derek, and every PHP developer out there has probably used Xdebug at some time, right?
Yeah, when during that period where someone's like, you should be using Xdebug, and then you set it up and it breaks and you stop using it ever again.
But he's another one that it's like, it's a tool that so many developers use, so many other tools are built with, like PHP Storm.
He's so funny though. Like in his monthly report, he's like, I worked for 60 hours and got paid for 20 of them. Mm-hmm. he puts it out there. And
I don't read those. I'm not sure what you're referring to.
No, so
it's fine.
Derek Wathen Derek. What'd you say his name was?
Starts with an R. What's his last name?
Oh God, I even had it on the Trello board. Anyways, he's been releasing a monthly breakdown of development for Xdebug, and part of his monthly breakdown has been what I got paid to do and what I did for free, and it's scathing.
Reasons.
Rathens. And he got two new supporters, two new corporate supporters this month, and didn't say that he didn't get paid for work. So I actually think he's getting paid to work now. But he didn't pull punches in his previous newsletters. He was like, yeah, no, this is how much I worked and this is how much I got paid for it. Are you enjoying Xdebug? Fuck you. Like, he was totally not chill about it. Which is great. To me, that's great. That's what you're supposed to do with your code. When your code's being used by large corporate entities, you're supposed to not be chill about it. You're supposed to say, hey, guess who I don't work for? Any of the top 10. And guess what they should be paying me? Top 10 fucking money. And they don't.
Right.
And this dude, this guy who wrote Colors and Faker, was giving himself too much credit. Colors and Faker were not like difficult algorithms managing complex software solutions. It was a duplicate of the Java Faker library and a colors interface for Xterm. Like, that's stuff that a lot of college students did as their pre-thesis work.
Mm-hmm.
And it got popular because NPM is a weird environment. But like, it was a low value system, except for how integrated it was till everything used it. But like, it's the guy inventing the wheel saying, dude, everyone's using the wheel, and it's like, well, it's been 5,000 years. You can let it go.
So let's bring this back around to PHP a little bit, though, right?
Sure.
Well, first thing, that explanation, if you're telling me the whole Faker Colors takedown situation was really about that's a little different than the story we got last week. So
it was about a lot of frustration and not being compensated. Mm-hmm. We'll just boil it down to that.
Okay.
Not being compensated for work.
So let me ask you something here. Right? So you go into the open source world not expecting to get rich, right? You should, or at least you should be going into the open source world not expecting
hopefully.
To get rich. You have companies that start to use your product and start to make money using your product. Let's talk about an example we talk about a lot here, Laravel, right? How many companies out there have completely built products around using the Laravel framework that have not contributed back? Now, Laravel is a different situation, right? Because Taylor has done well for himself creating his own product with his framework.
Not even with his framework. I mean, let's be clear here that the products that he sells are not Laravel products. They are products leveraging the Laravel community.
But I'm pretty sure they're all built with Laravel.
I mean,
I'd be surprised if they're not.
I wouldn't be surprised, but he's not. The closed source stuff that he's selling to the community. He's not selling the openness of the product. He's selling the functionality of the closed source product.
Right. Regardless,
sure.
Let me finish my fucking statement.
I don't do that. I don't do that.
Should that exclude him, since he is somebody who's doing well for himself? I don't think anybody questions that. He's getting ready to move into a beautiful new house that he keeps posting on Twitter. I guess I should shut up now, huh?
That Lamborghini now. We all got nice houses around here.
Does that make other companies who use this product and not contribute back to the ecosystem more justified? Like, oh, Taylor's fine. This developer has figured out a way to make a good living using open source, nobody should be worried about contributing back to any work that he's used or any work that he's done in their own product, I guess is what I'm saying.
Okay, so this gets real deep real fast because Red Hat is inherently an open source company worth billions of dollars because they bought open source projects and provided management tools for open source environments.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is the same thing that Amazon is accused of with AWS, where Amazon has taken stuff like MongoDB and CouchDB and created services off of them that are essentially just renamed versions of the service that already existed, but they're hosting them in these redundant managed environment or semi-managed environments.
Mm-hmm.
And I will ask you this. Going back to free as in freedom versus free as in beer. If you buy somebody a beer and they say, "Oh, thank you," and then pour it on the floor, are you going to be mad at them? Yes. Yeah, your intention for buying them was a beer was different. You intended them to enjoy the beer with you.
Mm-hmm.
But did they have every right to take the beer and pour it on the floor? Yeah, they did. Absolutely. You bought them a beer. It's their beer now. They can do whatever they want with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I went to bars when I was in my spry youthful 20s and bought a girl a drink because she was flirting with me, and then she gave the drink I bought her to her boyfriend who I didn't see behind her. And was I pissed? Yeah. But I learned a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Like, free as in beer means you gave them a fucking beer. It's their beer now. And as much as these lessons can hurt us, Charlton, I'll get back to you. Somebody is hitting Wikipedia hard while I'm talking.
Well, I also want to touch on Sevi, right? Because you're just rambling about nonsense now. So I want to get back on track.
Fair enough.
And I'm pronouncing it wrong, Sevi.
No, that's right. Sevi.
No, we always think that's it, and then they correct us.
Well, it's Sevi like Levi?
I forget. Anyways, he says, does anyone worry that situations like this may discourage companies from using open source? No, and I'm going to tell you why. There are two kind of trains of thought especially in enterprise. When you talk about companies, I typically think enterprise because startups and smaller companies are kind of in a different realm, right? Enterprise, they're the ones that have the money to make a choice to use open source software or not. They're not struggling to make payroll sort of thing. And there's usually two trains of thought. You have the companies that say, yeah, shit, they're giving the software away for free. Not only am I going to use it, I'm going to use it as leveraging power against the proprietary solutions. Then you have companies that will say, no, we're not. It's not a matter of cost to us. It's a matter of responsibility and accountability. And they feel like that's not something that happens in the open source world. That things like a faker and colors, that sort of situation would never happen in a proprietary solution. And that's why they pay for proprietary solutions.
But it did happen in a proprietary solution because
absolutely it happens all the time. Not only does it happen.
No, it did.
In the thing, I know, I'm agreeing with you. And not only does it happen, the thing that I'm an open source guy. I worked for a big enterprise, and I had this battle, this conversation, this discussion with my superiors all the time, the people up the food chain from me. This concept that, well, I'm paying somebody to take accountability for the software, I don't have to worry about it, is a huge red flag, because they can. And this Microsoft was doing this at the time, where they would completely pivot their platform, and you are now forced to pivot with them, whether you like it or not, because you don't know anything about the software you're running. You're just paying for the software. The people who make the software told you, hey, you have to do it this way now, and you have no say in it. And this was always kind of the back and forth we've had with, well, here's the disadvantage of open source software. And I would say, yeah, no, it's the same disadvantage of proprietary software. You just don't see it. You don't have the visibility to it. And that's why open source software is so much better. You're muted, buddy.
I don't disagree.
You don't agree?
I don't disagree.
Disagree. Oh, thank you. I fought that war for years. I tried so hard to get a well-established open source initiative in the company I was working with. And the hysterical thing about it is, if you know who I am, if you look at my LinkedIn, you can probably figure out what company this is. They built
Sony
products. They built some of their biggest products on open source stuff.
Am I an asshole for saying that?
I mean, it always amazed me. I don't know. I think the world of open source needs to change. I think these companies need to pay some dues, but yeah.
All right, you're not taking hints from Slack, so I'm going to say, hey, if anyone wants to deal with webhooks, I've got a solution for you.
We'd like to thank our sponsor for this episode, HookRelay.dev. HookRelay.dev allows you to create powerful webhooks without having to create all of the groundwork yourself. Sure, the basics of sending webhooks are easy, but to add more powerful features takes time and effort. That's where HookRelay.dev saves the day. Have you ever tried sending data to third parties that have strict API limits? Do you handle those failures caused by those limits properly using traditional back-off algorithms? Stop worrying about third parties with flaky servers and let HookRelay.dev continue trying to reach them for you. Resending failed webhooks, or just resending for testing, is as simple as clicking a button. You can also be the recipient of webhooks. That's right, HookRelay.dev handles both inbound and outbound webhooks. HookRelay.dev can catch the request and then send them to your servers. And best of all, reporting. Writing code to track success failures, create reports, and more is already done with HookRelay.dev. Try HookRelay.dev's free tier today. Get 3 endpoints, 14-day retention, and 100 deliveries per day. Thank you, HookRelay, for sponsoring today's episode.
Thank you, Hook Relay.
I'm pretty sure my kids are trying to burn my house down.
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention to Slack, buddy. Oh my gosh. What happened?
I'm not. I didn't check.
I didn't check where the smoke was coming from. I just there's just a lot of smoke out there.
No, now that you mention it, though, give me one more minute.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll keep everybody busy. Let me set up another mark here. Hey, Discord, here's your opportunity to ask me anything. Ask me anything. AMA me right now, Discord. You got 30 seconds. I used to know better acronyms for Sony. I forget what the really good one that I used to use. I loved my time at Sony, by the way. Anybody wondering? It was definitely a roller coaster ride of emotions and a lot of hard work, but I definitely enjoyed it.
They eventually leave the house, right? Right when they get older, they leave the house.
I'll let you know, man. It hasn't happened yet for me, so I couldn't tell you. Do we need to carry on?
Yes.
Okay. You really seem derailed right now. I'm concerned.
I really don't want my house to burn down again. Yeah, I mean,
we can move on from
open source.
I mean,
Open source is a miasma. It's a can of worms. You know, GitHub banning this creator and like reinstating his old code as it's got weird implications.
Okay.
But man, if I were running GitHub, I would totally do the same thing. I would totally be like this guy's a wild card, got out of control, has personal issues, and people rely on his code.
But I mean, GitHub really didn't even have to step in. I mean, if they wanted to ban him, that's fine. That was up to them. But they didn't have to reinstate his repo. Anybody could have done that.
NPM did that.
Right.
So NPM reinstated his repo as pre 666.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you know, when you're working with people who work for free, you're gonna get weird behavior. And I can almost guarantee that the dude wasn't working for free. He was working for somebody who wanted this code written, and he wrote it for him, but convinced him to open source it.
Mm-hmm.
Or he was a student who wrote it while he was a student. You know, not a lot of people out there really working for free, quote unquote free.
All right, let's move on. What else you got? You got anything else good to talk about? We done? We wrapping up?
8.1, man. I'm excited.
I heard it. 8.1 has been a complete flop. They're blaming the release managers. It's not even worth talking about. We should
8.11. Different release manager, not a flop.
Same release managers. You're the release manager for that version. Yeah.
I wouldn't know that. I've never been a release manager.
And neither have I, but that's just basic. That's like Simver versioning, man. You just know that. There won't be another release manager until 8.2.
I'm excited, man.
Did you? What are you excited about with 8.11?
Enums.
Yeah. I'm getting excited about enums. Yeah.
I still don't quite get it.
Enums?
Yeah.
I historically didn't use enums just because it was kind of a pain in the ass, but now that it's part of the core, I will probably use it more.
Well, so I'll tell you, enums in MySQL, I was explicitly against.
I'm still explicitly against
like
it.
That's do not use an enum column in MySQL.
Yeah,
but this is very different.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the reason I have trouble with enums in PHP is that it is looser than I wish it were.
I mean, it's a pretty simple concept. What do you mean looser?
I think that the way that enums are incorporated in PHP 8.1 is it makes sense at a lower level. I'm used to higher level enums. I'm used to enums on models.
So maybe we need to make sure everybody has the same understanding of enums, at least how I think of them, because they might be used for more. They might have a deeper meaning. To me, like enums are whenever you want something to have options, like you want to set set number of options of what those options are, like, colors, blue, red, green, black, right? That would be a case where you would use enums and say, okay, here's enums for colors. These are the only colors you can select. Is whatever is a valid value in this enum. So with that said, what's to be loose or not loose about? I mean, that's pretty straightforward.
So in SQL, an enum is a number associated with a string. So you have 0, 1, 2, 3, and they mean red, blue, green, yellow.
Mm-hmm.
In programmatic enums, you have a static name
String.
associated with a string. No.
Oh,
So
okay, yeah, right, yep, okay.
to me, when I look at a static property, my mind immediately goes to what is the value of that static property? What is the key and value of that static property? But in this implementation, the key of the enum is a static property, red, blue, green, and there's no data methodology to store the static property. So if you have a class called colors, and then you have properties of that, you have static properties of that class, which are red, blue, green, whose values are red, blue, green. There's the key to those values is the static property colors red, colors blue. I'm very used to 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not used to the property of a class being a key.
You'll get. I don't think it's that big of a change.
No, I don't think it is. I just think it catches me when I see it.
Yeah, enums are not exciting. Just it's a nice to have. Finally, I'm looking forward to having that.
I think they're exciting because they'll get enums away from the database. The wrong place to have them. Now, if Eric, you know why I don't like enums in the database. But if you don't know, if you're a listener and you don't know why I hate enums in the database, if you have a column that is an enum type and you have male and female, and then someone says, well, we need to have a no preference, or we need to have a they, or whatever. Doing an alter table on that column is a massive, massive undertaking. I had an alter table that I thought would be really quick this week that turned out to be 12 days.
What? Because of enums?
No, but enums can do it.
So 12 days?
Yeah.
Holy crap, dude. How
Yeah.
big is
it? Was a drop column that took 12 days.
What?
Yeah.
Jeez, I used to defrag hard drives in less time than that. My God, dude.
Well, the data in this column was like 400 hard drives.
Jesus. That's scary stuff, man.
Enums in the database are always bad. Always, always, always bad. And they don't even index well. Enums in a database index very poorly. So you get no benefit and all of the regret.
All the regret.
I couldn't find the right word there, so I just said regret instead.
That works.
Also in 8.1 is new in initializers. So right now, when you have application equals null on your constructor, so they're allowed to not pass in a constructor. Well, now you can pass in a new application object in your constructor. And this adds on to the like private, public, the whole thing about constructors barely even need to be constructors anymore thing. Very handy. Read-only properties. I assume the value is immediately understood by everybody. One of the big things with dates and times is immutability. I can set this value. This post was made on January 29th, and I can't modify the property to change that. Well, previously it was public, private, and protected. But if you could get to it, you could change the value. Now, if you set a property as read only, it acts similar to a constant. So you can say, when I set this, it can't be changed. That's going to be really, really nice for atomic operations in stuff like banking that I do, loan management, stuff like that. Dates particularly.
You done?
Yeah.
You didn't want to talk about static analysis? Joe even brought that one up, didn't he? Didn't Joe in Discord talk about us? What did Joe just say? Joe said metrics to FPM without extra plugins and extensions.
Are you calling me out for just reading the blog post that I'm reading?
I just realized what you were doing. I moved. I'm like, oh, I'm looking up all these individual things. He's reading this one.
I'm just reading this one page. It tells me what to say. You're doing it the hard way.
I totally am. I don't know what I'm thinking of, man.
You know what's great? The ecosystem. Just like every year, I can't go without mentioning packages.
Whoa, what? Where'd that come from?
You scroll down.
Oh, I stopped scrolling. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, I see. PHP Foundation. We already talked about that. The ecosystem. Yeah, very good.
It's always weird to me when someone's like, "Hey, PHP Foundation is the thing," and I'm like, "I know that guy."
All right. Did you see the tweet? John and I got interviewed on Voices this week.
Voices of the Elephant.
Voices of the Elephant. Yes. I don't have
a button on my Stream Deck for that.
Yeah, we talked. It was about PHP Architect. Which, if you're a PHP Architect subscriber, and if you're not, again, open source, hard work, and nobody appreciates it. Whatever, you're fine. You don't have to subscribe if you don't want to. No, just kidding.
Not open source, but
not open source at all.
No.
We are trying to get January out. John and I literally worked on the magazine all day today, working on layout. It's not on any of the columnists. A few of the columnists are here with us today. Joe, thank you. We're just working on layout issues right now, so it should be out this week. I'll be honest with you. As much as I love PHP Architect and as excited as I am to be running it and be a part of it, so much fucking work, dude. It's so much work of something I'm not familiar with, which is PHP. No, which is publication. It is just using the software to get a freaking picture to position correctly is taking way too long, man. Oh. But yeah,
I can say I have offered up my time, and you have gracefully not taken me up on it.
I mean, I don't know how we would. I mean, you could read proofread stuff, but so much of it is the layout. And we pay somebody who does like 95% of the layout. And then John and I try to bring it that last 5%. And it takes us as long to bring it that last 5% as it did the other person to do the other 95%.
Yeah, I got taunted with cases of beer to write about Web3.
Yeah, what's up with that, man? We've begged you to write for us, and you still haven't done it.
Okay, the fact that you want me to write about Web3, like,
I don't care what you write about.
If
Write about
fundamentally
whatever you
upsets
want.
me,
write about
right.
the open source and why people should pay open source developers.
I'm gonna write about Laravel Pipelines is what I'm gonna write about, because that's the thing that I'm like super into right now.
You need to explain to me. I keep seeing this and I don't understand what Laravel Pipelines are.
So I have some methods that are like map reduce, and then filter, and then map and reduce, and then filter again.
Okay.
And a pipeline is just an array of objects that perform those functions. So I have a map to monthly grouping, reduce to monthly average, filter to selected date period. Right?
Okay.
And I use these a lot in my code for reporting, but there's a lot of data, there's a lot of redundancy in this. So I am saying map to a monthly behavior. And the code for that is figure out what month it is, figure out the past months, do a date format on the carbon date format on the object. Well, if I create a map to monthly
pipeline,
right,
that's a pipe. That's called a pipe.
That's a pipeline. Well, that's a pipeline object. Then I can say pipeline this thing, and then the result of this thing goes into the next thing, which is
how's that
filter by month.
How's that any different than like creating helpers? I'm just curious.
It's
like,
not.
Is that just like a new name for helpers or something? Pipelines?
No. So a pipeline expects to receive X input and produce X output. And when you include multiple pipelines, you can produce a somewhat async behavior of do this, then this, do this, then do this. It's, I mean, man, you're questioning the very concept of object-oriented programming, which is how is this different than functional programming, just much more complicated.
Yeah, it's kind of where I'm going. It's like I'm not sure.
It is. It's a pattern, which is you may have stumbled across this pattern doing it a non-Laravel way and not called it pipelines. But in Laravel, there's a pipeline helper contract that says when you include this and call it a pipeline, then the run method will always do that, will always accept this and produce this. So in a pipeline in Laravel, you're always accepting an object and then returning an object. And one of the new things in Laravel 878.1, I can't believe I'm promoting this kind of numerical behavior, but collections now support pipelines by default. So you can say, hey, take this collection, run it through this pipeline. Then return a JSON object or an array object or whatever. But yeah, that's the thing about the pipelines is they take in an accepted, is it a collection? Is it JSON? Is it an array? They figure out what to do with it from there. And then they return a collection. And then they pass it to the next pipeline, which knows what to do with it next. And then since they return a collection, you can say to array, to JSON, to string. So, I mean, yeah, it's not any different than object-oriented programming. It's just the way you're supposed to do it.
I have to take a look at this because it keeps coming up on my radar, and I just haven't had the time to kind of wrap my head around it. I don't understand the benefits to it yet. But
well, okay, so you guys work on, I would say, medium scale projects.
Our clients would disagree with you, but okay, I'll go with that. I agree with you.
My company is talking about integrating over 200 external API services
this year.
This
Are you really doing the I code harder shit than you fucking thing on me right now? Is that what you're trying to do? You're saying I have more complex problems I'm trying to solve than you are? You're not to my level? Is that where you're going with this? I'm not to your level?
Yes.
You're a dick. Oh
my God, Joe Ferguson, I love you. Joe Ferguson says
always comes in for the win.
Enterprise.
Are you enterprise? Do you consider yourself enterprise, Tom?
Blue chip. Yes, I do.
Lost you?
I don't. Here's the thing, is that I have a lot of redundant behaviors. When you integrate 200, 300, 400 external API service calls, and you want to track that shit.
And how would you do those external API calls, Tom? Oh wait, we already did that.
That's what I'm paid to figure out.
No,
and I am very bad at my job.
You already have a service now. You need to look into the service. All right. You're not picking it up. You're not picking what?
What button am I supposed to press? That one.
Thank you to our Patreons. Is that what you want me to say?
Was that not the right button?
No, I was talking about our sponsor. We
did that. I did that already.
I know you did. God damn it.
We'd like to thank our sponsor for this episode, HookRelay.dev. HookRelay.dev allows you to create powerful webhooks without having to create all the groundwork yourself. Sure, the basics of sending webhooks are easy, but to add more powerful features takes time and effort. That's where HookRelay.dev saves the day. Have you ever tried sending data to third parties that have strict API limits? Do you handle those failures caused by those limits properly using traditional back-off algorithms? Stop worrying about third parties with flaky servers and let HookRelay.dev continue trying to reach them for you. Resending failed webhooks, or just resending for testing, is as simple as clicking a button. You can also be the recipient of webhooks. That's right, HookRelay.dev handles both inbound and outbound webhooks. HookRelay.dev can catch the request and then send them to your servers. And best of all, reporting. Writing code to track success failures, create reports, and more is already done with HookRelay.dev. Try HookRelay.dev's free tier today. Get 3 endpoints, 14-day retention, and 100 deliveries per day. Thank you, HookRelay, for sponsoring today's episode.
Thank you, HookRelay, and thank you to our Patreons, our patrons on Patreon.
Patreons on Patreon. Yeah, thank you very much. You let us feel appreciated. We were talking about open source developers not being appreciated or not feeling appreciated. You are what make us feel appreciated. Thank you. Are you like baked or what is your story tonight? Are you drunk? Are
what?
You baked?
No.
You're one of those two. All right. That's it. Are we done? Is that it?
No.
Jesus Christ, dude. I drank this whole glass of wine and I gotta pee now.
Doesn't look like wine. Looks like brandy. You can go pee. I did it once already too.
Go ahead. What else you got to talk about?
Can we talk about this fucking DRM Canon printer thing?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You know that
Fun fact, the proprietary nature of printers is what kicked off the whole open source movement. If you're not aware of that story, go look it up. Take your time, Tom.
We are in a national chip shortage, and Canon was using chips to enforce DRM on their printers.
What? Wait, I'm confused. What would be DRM on the printer?
The ink cartridges.
Oh, I fucking hate printers.
Yeah. I'm not a fan. However, at some point, Canon said, hey, we don't have enough chips, or it would save us money to not put our DRM chips in our ink cartridges, sending them out to this very tiny hamlet in Denmark. So we are going to send them ink cartridges that don't have the chips in them, and inside the cartridges there will be a little document that says, hey, these chips don't have the DRM on them. Here's how you circumvent the DRM on your printer so that it still prints with the cartridges we're sending you.
Oh, this is rich. Really?
Yes. Now, the problem is the internet. Because Canon had decided that this very small county or whatever they were sending these cartridges to, it was going to be in a classic form of Dutch that no one understands outside of this little tiny county. We can explain like, hey, we're just out of chips, so you have to do this to your printer to let it accept the cartridge. But then Google Translate exists, and someone found it and was like, Canon's out of chips. And they admitted that the whole DRM situation is bullshit.
Well, it kind of is, and they kind of
it totally is. That's the thing. That, to me, the funny thing about this is that they tried so hard to whisper to like one little group of people. They're like, yeah, they're like, okay, so it turns out that the DRM thing is bullshit. So here's how you get around it. And then everyone else was like, I fucking knew it. I knew. Like everyone who spoke English who got a translation to this thing was like, fuck yeah, fuck those guys. But literally only the people who cared. The only people who cared were the people who already knew that it was all bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And it means literally nothing to anyone who's involved in any way. Like, it is on the front page of CNN and Fox and Boing Boing and CNET and Hacker News, and no one who actually matters fucking cares.
That's funny.
That's the part that's great to me, is that it got so much coverage. Because everyone's like, see, bro, I told you. Shit's weak. Totally fake. And the only people who were listening were like, I know, bro, right? So fake. We're on board. The people who care are still arguing about if like NFTs are real or not. Like, it's so dumb.
Hey, I know we say we weren't gonna snipe other cards, but your Twitter card here just like plays in perfectly of what we've been talking about all night.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, go for it.
So apparently, I'm just now catching up on this. This was a card on Thomas's Trello, so I'll give him full credit. Just talking about OBS and like being good Samaritans or good people within the open source community, and companies making money over open source projects and like hiding the fact that it's an open source project or not contributing back. You have a tweet in here that says, "Remember yesterday's news about TikTok releasing a Go Live platform? Turns out it's a fork of OBS."
Yeah.
And now, isn't this what somebody else was accused of too? Not
Yeah, Logitech.
no, that's not who I'm-
Logitech is the
Streamlabs.
So
Is it
Streamlabs,
Streamlabs?
Streamlabs is a child company of Logitech, and Streamlabs created Streamlabs OBS, which is no longer called that because OBS is a trademark, and trademarks are different than intellectual property copyrights.
Mhm.
But the interesting thing here is that, yeah, like OBS is so successful that people are profiting off of it, but not the people who are writing it.
In the tweet, it even says it's an illegal fork of OBS. What makes it illegal? They're not adhering to the open source license, or
Non-contribution license. So you have to say when you're using code from this source. MIT, GPL, and GNU licenses all require attribution licenses, which means that when your compiled code is distributed, your work has to be codified. You have to say, this comes from here.
Mhm.
Now, some of these licenses say that if you build upon this code, you have to release the code that you created. You have to say, I built upon this and here's what I built. Some of these licenses do not, but all of these licenses say you have to attribute the source code to the creators.
Mhm.
And TikTok released this platform without attribution. So that's in violation of all of the licenses.
Gotcha.
Now, this also goes to Streamlabs. Streamlabs is accused of trademark licensing and design, GUI trademarks, but TikTok here is being accused of just straight up saying like non-attribution.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a constant fucking issue. I mean, like, to get like all the way back into it, Amazon sells Elasticsearch, which the original license for Elasticsearch said, yeah, you can sell this if you want to, and you don't even have to call it Elasticsearch.
Mm-hmm.
But the new Elasticsearch license says, hey, if you want to sell this, you have to give us credit, and you should probably hire some of the programmers who wrote it. It gets so... I mean, it's legal shit.
Mm-hmm.
It gets so messy so fast. There's no way to properly parse the whole thing.
Mm.
But yeah, I thought it was funny that after like the day after we were talking about Streamlabs OBS ripping off OBS, TikTok was like, TikTok was like, hey, we can do that too. And everyone was like, you can't do that. And TikTok was like, hey, we're in China, fuck off.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah. That only adds to the complexity. So, all right, man. I think that's it. I think we're gonna have to wrap it up. I got an early morning tomorrow. I gotta drive somebody to the airport. That's one of the problems I have with my new house, which my problems are very few.
Well, you don't have a 12-car garage?
But there's no close airport anymore. Like the closest airport is like a little over an hour away north.
But planes
And
keep landing there for some reason.
And I'm not sure. I've never been like everybody I know, and I'm very familiar with the airport down in San Diego, so we still go to that one. But either way, I've got an early morning drive to the airport tomorrow morning, so we need to wrap this up. This has been episode 260. What the hell is happening? I'm trying to end the show. Go ahead.
I would be remiss if I did not bring up doom and gloom.
You are absolutely killing me right now. We had this entire show we filled, and you're just not doing doom and gloom. Let's go. Let's go, baby.
No, I got nothing.
What? What were those words? Do we have doom and gloom or not? What's going on? Hello?
No, I just had to check.
Oh, okay. All right. What do you got?
No, nothing. There's the thing with the EU is saying Google Analytics is illegal because they're like sweeping up too much data, which is not going to fly. That's going to get reverted. And then Sherry Wheeler was asking why are U.S. companies following GDPR? And I can tell you.
Hold on. I just want to call out the fact that you were worried I was going to call you out for reading a blog. You literally just went to the doom and gloom channel of the PHPUgly Discord. You didn't have anything prepared.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode
through.
269 of PHPUgly. My name is Tom.
I'm Eric. Keep it up.
Keep it ugly.
1, 2, 1, 2. Coming off the top, y'all know how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send a shout out to the host named Eric.
An abundance
he's
of
never
caution.
on some average shit, you know. Eric, he stays loud and passionate. I'm about to break it down for y'all with the clever song. Yo, shout the host named Thomas, cause he's never wrong. Yo, shout to John. You know that he's smart and quiet, unlike my freestyles, which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this, cause the people love me. Shouts out to PHP, the ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional, but I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting, I perfume the room. Yo, the segment of the show is called Doom and Gloom. That came from Thomas. Yeah, can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no exaggeration. What do y'all do for a living? Web applications. Okay, I can dig it. My words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it. You know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly. We ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go.
Woo!
Oh.
I took my cat to the vet today.
Let me hear it. What happened?
He
turn off the
fine.
feedback.
He did fine. My other cat, by having the carrier in the room, believed he was under attack and ran downstairs, which is the least safe place for him to be.
Okay. Sorry.
I think my cat has a thyroid problem. He's 10 years old, 11 years old.
That's an old cat.
It's not. 20 is an old cat. 10 years old is like being 60. And to guys like us, 60 is still like, oh yeah, like good on you. Did you work out a couple weeks last year? That's how you made it that far. My wife has this habit of like every couple months, she like remembers how old our cats are. and gets real weepy about it. It's like we're just sitting there watching TV, and she's like, "Our cats are gonna die soon," and I'm like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, I was having a perfectly nice night.
I tell you, man, pets take too much out of me. I get too emotionally attached to my pets.
Oh, I know.
They take too much out of me. I mean, when these can't.
I'm gonna work with your wife on getting you a husky, though.
I am definitely not getting a dog, man. Don't I am not there yet. It's gonna take me so long to get a dog.
It takes long to get over it.
Oh my god.
Have you seen huskies though?
Hey, tell me something. Listen to me. Do you hear something? Did you hear me click that?
No, I heard you click on and off. Yeah.
You heard the click on and off?
Oh, you bought that fucking XLR mute?
I did.
I told you not to.
Did you? I don't remember you telling me not to.
I tried to.
You're here clicking?
Yeah. It's a 12-volt switch. You're gonna hear a click.
It's a freaking mute button. Why would you hear a click when you hit a mute button? It should freaking mute. I don't understand this.
It's an inline, actually, XLR, what, 48 volts? You're like turning 48 volts on and off. What, and you bought the like $38 one?
It's cheap. No, it's a cheap one. It was whatever the cheap one
Yeah.
was.
The reason the expensive ones are expensive is because they don't do that.
I wanted to use it. And I didn't use it the whole show because I thought
I tried to tell you, get a Stream Deck or use the Stream Deck app.
I told you the Stream Deck doesn't work on Linux. We've already gone down this, and I know there's open source projects behind it, and they all suck.
I had Command K assigned to my mute function for a long time on Linux, and it worked fine.
If you can give me the code to do that, I'm even okay typing in a command to do it. I don't care. I just can't figure it. Nothing I do seems to work.
So there's 2 audio platforms for Linux. You have to know which one you're using. Is it Pulse Audio or ALSA Audio?
Pulse. I'm using Pulse.
If it's Pulse Audio, you have to install the Pulse Audio mixer.
I have that.
And then you have to install the K Pulse Audio mixer, which is the KDE version.
Okay.
And then you have to have it open while you're doing the podcast. And you have to go in and assign a keyword or a key command.
I'm getting annoyed now. So I got to have this app running.
It's not my fault.
This is why nobody likes open source.
That's why no one likes me. Let's be fair.
No, this is true too. Let's see. Global mute hotkey. Linux.
You have to say Pulse Audio. Pulse Audio mute.
Listen, you're not my real dad. Shut up.
I'm nobody's real dad, and I know that very particularly this week. I went off on my son.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you never congratulate me on anything I do. And I fucking like literally dropped my video game controller, and it was like, what did you do this week? Did you do anything other than play League of Legends?
Oh, I should have recognized my one kid got a big person job.
You've got 2.
Yeah, got a big person job. They got their CNA a few months back, and now have an official CNA position where they're working like 8 hours a day and doing CNA stuff.
My wife's got 3 of those. It's very exhausting.
3 jobs or three CNA?
3 CNA jobs.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
It is a grind, man. I tell you. I
Well-
told her the best advice I could give her is you're young, you'll rest later, you'll work because they're making good money. It's like work the hours, work as many hours as you can right now because you're not going to always be able to do it.
You're gonna hate me.
Oh, that ship has sailed, buddy. What's up?
As a CNA, if you don't like it, get out fast.
Oh, this is a stepping stone for them. It's not a long term. They're looking to go down the whole nursing, and then they've talked about potentially doing becoming a physician assistant, or there's another path. I forget what the other path was.
RN?
Maybe.
My wife was 40 when she figured out that CNA was like the job for her. And I spent an hour and a half today like watching videos of her and her kids tying their shoes. And it's like, oh, that's great, honey. I so don't care. But she's like, you're gone. I lost your audio.
I did it. Can you hear me now?
I told you it's easy.
I can't believe I just wasted that money on that freaking cough button.
I told you. It's carrying 48 volts. You can't cut off.
God.
You can't just cut off 48 volts without line noise.
What key combination did you have? Control K?
K, yeah.
Why K?
Because it doesn't have another use.
Well, that's good enough for me. Mine is now Control K.
I mean, I have it on the Stream Deck now.
Cannot believe I've looked for this so many times and couldn't find it. Oh my god.
Have you gone to Fiverr and gotten
K for
anyone
cough. Nice,
like new
nice,
art?
Frank. No, I have it on my to-do list. It's coming up this Saturday to put together and do some research on. But no, I have not.
You understand that I don't have, of the three of us, I'm the only one who has no access to the money. I can't do anything.
I don't have access to the money. That's all John, man.
No,
That's not
but
true. I have
you
access to the money.
You have no reservations about just spending the corporate money.
Yeah. We're not a corporation. You should be aware of that. But yeah, I know. I need to do it. I will.
You gotta fly that by me. You gotta send me that stuff before you like approve it for print.
I don't have to do shit. We should be clear
Me
on
neither.
that.
Me neither. I've got this button. There we go.
I don't know what just happened. What happened?
Nothing.
I don't know what's happening right now.
Nothing.
Are you muting me?
No, I'm not. None of my buttons do that anymore.
Yes, I will get to it, Tom. I told you we have a lot on my plate lately, brother. I'm finally getting things organized.
Don't believe you.
Again.
Don't believe you.
Yeah.
I'm getting a new PC like for this editing station side of things.
Why is that? What editing do? You don't do any editing.
I do live editing.
Oh my god, you hit a couple buttons on OBS.
Okay.
That's
Do you
not
remember
live
do you remember when the intro was stuttering every time I tried to play it? And it was really, really bad.
Well, that
No,
was your stream issue.
No, it wasn't stream, it was CPU bound. So I'm
Whatever.
replacing this system soon because I got a bonus. Because I was the top performer of my sprint team.
I find that so hard to believe, but okay.
It is super embarrassing.
How do you feel about that? Like, I always wonder, like, if we should be doing something like that. Like, hey, Frank made more commits this month than anybody else.
I'll tell you. Give me 1 second.
You're killing me, Smalls. Killing me, Smalls. You might see my new Batman, lunchbox. Got this as a Christmas gift. The ironic thing about this is my mother-in-law is out here helping us unpack and made several comments about how much Batman paraphernalia I have, how much Batman stuff. I literally have cases and cases of Batman stuff. And I told them how challenging it, like Batman is definitely something I'm a hoarder on. Like I have a hard time. I enjoy giving Batman stuff away to kids and things like that. I have a hard time throwing it away, and I could never sell Batman stuff. And my Batman stuff represent a lot of gifts from different people. I rarely buy Batman stuff for myself. I do occasionally, but most of the Batman stuff I have are gifts from other people. And after giving me a hard time about how much I had, this was the gift I got from her this year. Was more Batman stuff. So, and I will hold on to this for a very long time.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah. Yep. I didn't even open it. Nice little tin. I need to use this. Maybe I'll start putting my cables in here. This is a nice size for this would be a nice size for cables. Maybe that's what I'll use it for. I need to repurpose my Batman stuff. Start getting some functionality out of it.
I think, generally speaking, you and I are on the same page with project management, which is that it is a necessary evil.
Yep, I agree. I actually brought that up in my internal meeting at Diego Dev, that I was misrepresented as not agreeing with project management. That's not true. I do think project management is something that's, like you said, a necessary evil, something we have to do. What I don't agree with are project managers. I'm not a big fan of project manager, that position of project manager where, and I'm perfectly happy to explain it to you.
Oh, you don't need to. I understand.
Yeah, because it's like if their only job is to manage all the projects, then I, as a manager of a department, should not have to go to each individual to get an update of that project. I should have to go to my project manager and get all my information. And this was one of the things that irritated me. So all these techniques, you've got me off on a tangent here. All these techniques, and the one I'm
zooming in on you.
Okay. The one I'm going to talk about specifically is stand-ups. So I was running a group. I was running the operations team, and we had to be part of the daily stand-ups, which were meant to be like 15 minutes long. They were never 15 minutes long. They were always 30, 45 hour long. But it pissed me off that myself and the software manager, who would stand next to me, would stand there, and the project manager would go through each person. Okay, what's your status? What are you working on? Okay, what did you complete today? What are you working on today? In my head, I'm thinking to myself, you should already know this shit. This meeting should be you saying, hey, Tom, are you still working on this? Because, that's what I have you working on. Okay, you're still working, and you're still planning on being done today. Okay, Dave, you're working on this. That's how a project manager should work. I shouldn't have to stand there and let him get updates on his fucking job that he's getting paid 8 hours a day to do. It would infuriate me.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm afraid that I'm becoming a project manager.
I agree. I agree with you 100%. And this is what I'm
but I'm becoming a good project manager.
There's no such term.
So We have
The-
these.
A
We
good
have
project manager
we have
is-
these.
is your lead developer. Bam.
we-
End of conversation.
So that's the thing that's been happening is that we've had these larger meetings where
at me, bro.
someone starts going on a tangent, and I have turned on my microphone and said, "That's a tangent. Let's move on."
Oh my god, is that something to do with you? Why didn't you tell me this? That's a tangent
That's a
with
thing
you.
I've been doing. We're like,
You,
we're not talking about that right now. What's your next issue? Like, I've been getting aggressively I've been getting aggressive in our stand-ups.
But that's not that's being a good manager, right? That's keeping a team focused. That's not.
But I've started
not-
just doing that. Like, I look at our
Well, aren't
birth-
you a
like,
manager? Aren't you
No.
a manager?
No.
Oh well, then you might be studying out of line. I don't know. You should
well,
probably check that.
but it's a startup. We don't no one who's there quite knows what they're doing. I mean, like at business.com,
Good.
am I calling out people? I don't want to call out people.
Yeah, that's not call out people.
At that place where we used to do that meetup, they had strict Scrum manager roles.
They were called Scrum Masters. Yes.
Scrum masters, and that was their only thing, and they were like bold. They would tell a dude, "Shut up, we're not talking about that, move on." And like, I always wrote that off
I lost
as
you.
bullshit
Hello?
management, but
Did you mute?
no, you lost your internet connection.
Oh, I wonder if that's on my side.
It is.
Hold on 1 second. No, that can't be the pro. It's my
So,
side.
Kevin,
It's my side. Hold on.
Kevin, you're saying most project managers also do other stuff. They should not be doing other stuff. Knowing that
I'm back.
this is dependent on this is their job. And saying to a developer in the stand-up, if you can't fucking finish this today, I'll give it to someone else who will, is their job. I have not been in an environment where I am a senior developer and I have junior developers underneath me before this, but junior developers are sometimes given things they can't finish, and it gets passed to a senior developer and they do it in 2 hours and it's fucking done and sent out the door. And a project manager has to know who those people are and how it works. And it's like software development management. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's really fucking hard. And it seems like the end game for someone who's really good at software development, where you look at something and say, this is bullshit, fix it, or I'll find out who can fix it. And you're going to get on the fucking on the shit list. And I've had to put people, or I've had to be in a situation where people are put on the shit list and said, like, yeah, figure this out, or I'll give it to someone else who can figure it out in 1 hour. Like, it's getting really, really weird for me to not program, but to spend my whole day reviewing code and reviewing software development, where I'm like, this is bad software development. You should have known that 2 years ago. And from looking at the community, like, people who have been developers for 20 years end up in project management because you have to review thousands of lines of code a day. And to what Kevin is saying.
Is there voting on Discord? Can I make a poll?
Oh yes, /poll.
Have you created /poll? I'm creating a poll for title. No, there's no /poll. No, not /poll. /vote. Nope, not /vote. message? Yeah. Yeah. Nope. You lied to me. Damn it. I need a poll in Discord. Okay, Discord. Let's see. Vote now. I'll just post. I'm gonna post 3 titles. 3 titles I'm thinking of using in Discord. You guys thumb up whatever one you like. What was the first one? Figure it till you make it. All right. Thumbs up the ones you like. See, there's that one. There's what was it? Disgruntled license to die. And there was one more I liked. Oh yeah, I think Joe did this one. No benefit, all the regret. All right, thumb up the one you guys like in Discord. Whiskey Banana, hello. /poll works on Twitch, I think. Gotcha.
I would pluralize benefits though. No benefits.
I was
no benefits, all the regrets.
No benefits, all the regrets. Okay, that is running away with it. Actually,
so this week I spent 2 days as project manager because I had all my tickets closed.
Okay,
and not having the pressure of closing story points meant that my code reviews, my pull request reviews, were much harder, much better. And my project manager can't do code review. Like she doesn't do, it's like she's not a coder. And then I had 8 meetings about like how we should progress with this not a feature.
Mm.
And I felt like project management was like exactly where I wanted to be.
It's up to you, man.
Well, it is, but
project manager. I mean, as somebody,
I'd never considered it before.
Somebody in my position, I kind of fall into that role a lot. But I mean, I think the thing that differentiates me is I still code, man. I will always be a developer first.
But I was coding, doing code reviews. That's the thing. It's like I'm totally on board. I always want to code. I always want to be in the system. But doing code reviews, I still felt like my fingers were in the system. Without writing the code myself, I still said, hey, this should be a service object. This should be an enum or a constant. You're missing a relationship here that should be a trait. Like as I get better at coding, I keep feeling more like my suggestions are the value that I hold.
That's so cute.
I'm not compared to my buddy.
I am. I tell you what, I see what our team at PHPUgly does, and I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed of my level of coding. Like I should be so much better than what I am.
That's a masculinity issue.
No, it's not. They're just they are all so much better. They're so much better than I am.
No, and that's the thing is that my friend who I was hired as a senior engineer and he was hired below me as just an engineer. He is so much better at me than all of this that he ended up taking the role that I said I was fit for.
Mm-hmm. You've mentioned that a couple times, yeah.
Right? And I'm not like upset about that. I'm glad for that. But I'm also looking at what he does now and I'm like, that's a good direction to go. that's how you make progress as a developer, or isn't, depending on where I want to go. He knows where he wants to go. I want to keep writing code. But man, there are a lot of people out there who are way smarter and better at this than me. And I'm like, I kind of don't want to code against them. I want to code with them. And a project manager is supposed to code with them. And I'm fucking, how old am I?
You look like 52, 53? I don't know. What are you clocking in at?
I think I'm going to be 42.
Jesus, you're really that young? Holy crap.
Yeah.
You should think about exercising a little bit. No benefits.
I am not going to make a testicle joke.
It would be a short joke.
And there's only one of them.
Oh God, you got issues. All right, let's do this.
No, I really do. And there's not a lot of space on the podcast.
You have not answered my question. Are you drunk today? What is your story, man?
Yeah, on Thursdays I like to go out before I do the podcast because I get cabin fever on Thursdays.
Yeah,
and my buddy's been in Texas for 2 weeks, and I didn't get to tell him about the $1.5 million issue.
What $1.5 million issue? What are you talking about?
The one I told you about last week.
We're still talking about that. Okay.
I don't have a resolution on that issue, by the way. I don't know if that was forgiven or not. All I know is that most of the work I'm doing on this sprint is related to rate limiting external API calls.
No regret. No benefits, all the regret. That's just not looking good today. Get better font. See, this is again going back to the home magazine stuff, man. Like fonts and fucking layouts, and oh my god, I need to get better.
I'm here for you. I've done this stuff before.
Yeah, should start having you do the thumbnails while I do the editing, but I'm already done. No regrets, no benefits, all regrets.
I won't do that. I won't do do YouTube thumbnails.
That's the problem, right? You want to pick and choose what you get to do, and then call yourself like the editor. That's bullshit, right? You got to do it all.
Yeah. No,
stuff that nobody likes doing. That's why this is still my show, because I do all the shit.
So you're saying I should be a project manager?
Oh my god! Yeah,
your show. I want to make it clear to everyone listening right now that Eric just called this his show.
Oh, absolutely, it's my show. Did you ever question that?
Is
this news to you?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay. All right. As long as it's clear.
I despise the concept of ownership.
Okay, well, fine. I don't, and this is my show.
And John's our guest, right?
Who's John? I didn't have any John on today. I need to finish going through our old shows. I did like the first 6, and then I stopped doing it.
Oh,
there's so much gold. There's so much gold in
real
there.
bad.
It's funny. It's not as bad as you think. I'm telling you, it was. Our early stuff was pretty funny.
It's still funny. That's still what I go for. That's what I go for, right? Is funny more than anything else.
It's hard to tell, but sure, okay.
Yeah, because when I mute you, because I think it's funny, you go on a goddamn rampage.
Yeah, because that's not funny.
I think muting Eric is funny, and then I get banned from my own Discord.
Not your Discord. You're not the server owner.
I
am.
get
Let's be clear.
banned
again
from
my
his
show,
Discord.
my Discord. You see a common theme here? Are we catching up? All right.
No,
good.
no, I know. I'm amazed you haven't made me buy a fucking Patreon subscription.
Oh my god! Don't be too cocky, Eric. John and Tom might fork the show. They fork the show every freaking week. Are you kidding me? Holy
Could
crap!
you imagine?
All right, let's
Get
update YouTube.
just get John high and get me drunk and have 40 minutes of silence.
For the record, everybody, PHPUgly. I was never supposed to be on PHPUgly. I was supposed to be the producer, and it was actually supposed to be John and I think another Diego Dev person.
This is not true at all. Everything he's saying is a lie.
What are you talking about? It's absolutely true. Matter of fact, the person who suggested you, me, and John be on PHPUgly is Frank in our Discord. We were sitting at
no.
Stop saying no. Stop saying no. We were sitting at pregame. It was pregame before all of our meetups.
Nope.
You can stop saying no. That's exactly what happened.
Nope.
He said, "You three guys should be doing a podcast. You three are funny." And I'm like, well, shit, I've been trying to get John and this other person to do this PHPUgly podcast. Let's go ahead and do that.
That might have happened to you, but that is not what the three of us, like, that's not the encounter the three of us had. Because the three of us were listening to somebody talk about Fox Pro.
What are you even talking about? I know the person you're talking about, and I know the incident that you keep referring to. That had nothing to do about the creation of this podcast.
And I had gotten I was getting hammered at this business, and I told you guys, hey, I think I'm going to be moving soon.
Stop. I'm going to stop you right there. And I've already gone through the podcast. I've already gone through the podcast, and I've already confirmed this. I'm in episode 6. You haven't even talked about moving yet. We were doing this
because it wasn't
before you moved.
Before we knew. It took me 9 months to move.
You moving did not factor into this at all.
When I made the decision to move, it was months before we had.
When did you move? I don't even know when you moved. When did you move?
I left San Diego January 19th, 2012, 2013, 2014.
So when did we do our first show?
2014. The decision to do the podcast was because I was deciding to move.
It was not. It never factored in. Never, not once.
You weren't moving. You wouldn't remember. I was abandoning everything I loved and knew.
Nope. You're wrong. You're 100% wrong. And I'm going to say...
That looks better.
So you didn't move in 2014 because we didn't even start the podcast until 2016. So listen, you're off. You're so off. You're not even close. Matter of fact, I can probably tell you when you moved because I think we were streaming on YouTube by then, weren't we? We had to have been streaming on YouTube by then. No. I'm gonna take a look.
No, we were like dual streaming right off the bat. We were streaming on every platform.
No, we weren't. We were not. We didn't start. When we first started streaming, we were just doing it through Hangouts, which went to YouTube, and we didn't even do that until about 100 shows in, I think, or some ridiculous number. Oh, I'm setting the record straight here. So we started streaming 9 shows in. And one of these says something about moving. I remember seeing something about moving here. Rocky Mountain High, episode 27. So that was 2016.
That would have been
September,
3
September-
months.
September 2016.
Yeah, so that's 4 months before I moved.
That was what? That was 4 months before you moved? Oh yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. You're still at your old house there.
I did not
So that
move
was-
until January, but I knew
Okay.
I was moving in September.
Okay, so you knew you were moving in September, but we started the show. That was show 27. So we started the show way before then. 27 shows before then.
All right, mistakes were made.
I love you, man. I love you. I just want you to know that I love you.
I love you too. I'm
This is
also like 80% of the screen right now.
That's fine. I don't see you're not sharing your screen with me, but you should be 80%. You should be 90% for all you do. We need to stop the live stream so I can update show thumbnail. It won't let me update
Ladies
thumbnail.
and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching us tonight. We are going offline, but we will be back next Thursday. It
Oh,
is
really? Holy
Always,
crap.
always a pleasure to be with you. I'm Tom.
We already did this, man. Thanks everybody for hanging out with
He's
us. I
Eric.
appreciate it.
Have a wonderful night.